Hey, so I just pulled up to this parking lot, right? I'm about to come back in my car. And I see somebody drop their negative battery terminal cable, man. Like, this is supposed to be a ground connection, and this goes on the negative terminal of a battery. I don't understand why this is right here. Crazy shit, man. But, that's on the side note. I want to say real quick, any of y'all out there listen to that Dawn FM album by The Weeknd? I ain't finna do a first time reaction to it, but man, make sure if anyone knows The Weeknd, make sure he's in good shape, make sure he's alright. Holy smokes. I know that his album concept is supposed to be a configuration of what purgatory is, but still, man, I mean, from the album cover to everything, it's like, you understand, music sometimes, I shouldn't say sometimes, at the end of the day, music is a representation of oneself. So maybe this is what The Weeknd sees for himself one day, and maybe that day is not now or whatever, but still, check on the dude, man. If you know the dude, or you can get in contact with him, check on him. Holy smokes. Now, After Hours was cool and all. I still would prefer My Dear Melancholy and Starboy over it. But I'm not saying that that was a bad record. Far from it. But what he did in Dawn FM, in terms of amplifying 80s sounds, that just blows After Hours out the water. And now, that, like I said, that's a great record. But what he did on Dawn FM, I'm telling you, this man just doesn't know where to go but up every time he drops a record, man. And I haven't felt such a strong tie of emotions to a song since Die For You from Starboy. And the song, if you know what I'm talking about, it's Out of Time. I mean, my God. First you get the little not little, but you get this skit by Quincy Jones, the legend himself, coming in and really giving you a background of how he grew up basically without a mother, had a pretty wicked stepmother, and because of her way of treating, Quincy, a young Quincy growing up, he's shown that same type of not lack of, well, I don't want to say lack of respect, but just lack of attention towards female in his life because of how his stepmother really portrayed what a woman would be like. And it's crazy, you know. But he also referred to like how he did his best to raise his kids so that way they didn't have to feel like as if they missed out anything from him, like how he missed out from his mother, and how and for those shoes to be filled in by someone who just wasn't right to fill it in the first place, man. But you get that skit leading into that song and the melodies and everything. It's just, for a second, I forgot that I was The Weeknd I was listening to. I'm like, man, I felt like he just called Michael Jackson on the Heaven telephone. It was just like, hey, can you give me some inspiration too, on this track? And that was all he wrote. Like, that song was wicked, man. And I don't mean that in a bad tone. In fact, I should say it was very enchanting. Man. I hope that's going to be his next big single release. Like, that song definitely deserves a single spot, man. Out of Time, that shit's so fucking beautiful. I ain't heard such melodies just that enchanting since Die For You, man. I didn't think he was going to be able to replicate it that good, but once again, proves you wrong. Keep doing your thing, man. Shit. More artists need to be like him. For real. Stay in your fucking lane and just progress your sounds and let them, evolve into whatever they can be. He's always had that 80s element to him. People forget that since Beauty Behind the Madness. Everyone want to talk about Trilogy. Look, Trilogy was cool and all. It ain't all that. You really got to see for who he really was going from his studio album one after another. And yeah, he's gotten really into pop a lot more recently, and he's kind of like not into the R&B trap mode like he was on Starboy. I get it, but he's exploring things that really fit with his voice, and he's killing it. I mean, come on. This dude had Blinding Lights played so many times, and that album was so covered over that it was just like, it felt like as if people weren't ready for another album by The Weeknd, because they were still soaking that one up. And yeah, 2 years, you wouldn't think you would get a record like that. You would think now with The Weeknd, you're like, give us 3, 4, 5 years. Don't pull a Rihanna, but like, give us like 3, 4 years to really soak it in, because you put a lot of energy into that, and you could just feel it, and a lot of artists, man, sometimes they have that magic too. They just lose it, man. I don't know why. It's, people may want to say, oh, The Weeknd's a few chosen, but there's plenty of artists with that opportunity to continue with their own sounds like that. It's just, for some reason, they stop. I don't know what it is, man. I've been mentioning Tory's one of them, and I still think that 80s album that he tried to do, I just don't get the concept of that. I don't. I feel like he was just doing it for the sake of it being relevant, and the fact that he probably wanted to compete with The Weeknd for having the better 80s sound record or some shit like that. But I'm going to tell you this right now. It's just, he's thinking small, man. He's thinking so small. I haven't felt this nigga really hit his music like that in 4 or 5 years. That's a damn shame. Because his swavy idea of music, combining different types of genres and making new types of melody, it's like, bro, you getting like, giving it that Odd Couple treatment, but at the same time, it's like opposite attracts. It just connects so fucking good. So I think he just needs to rewind shit back to that, and then just kind of continue going forward from there. But yeah, I don't want to make this shit longer than it needs to be, man. All I'm gonna say is that Don FM, holy smokes. And I'm just covering one song. You know what I mean? Everyone's gonna talk about that other song that's I forgot what it's called. I think it was track number 4. That's definitely the next big hit by The Weeknd. But I'm like, some songs just get that commercial treatment that it gets a lot of love in terms of playtime and all that. I'm not saying it's a bad song, don't get me wrong, but the songs that I have yet to be released as singles, outperform it, man. Let me double check that bitch right here. Yeah, Take My Breath. That's the song right there. That's going to be the next Blinding Lights for this dude. This song hits pretty good. Sacrifice is pretty fucking good. But like I said, it's always the good songs that are like too short. Like Take My Breath is 5 minutes and 40 seconds. Okay. Long ass intro. Cool and all. But let me get 30 minutes more from... Let me subtract 30 minutes from Take My Breath and give it to Out of Time. Because holy smokes. The melodies were great. Sacrifice, another song that deserves another 30 seconds. Is There Someone Else? Should be 4 minutes if you ask me. Knowing The Weeknd and how he done shit like on the My Dear Melancholy. Man, this gotta be like at least 4 minutes long. And then obviously there's so many good songs on here too, like Don't Break My Heart. I'll say this real quick. This was probably the most weirdest feature slot right here. Lil Wayne just did not sound like he belonged on that track. It was like putting a suit on a monkey. Like, you can, but how long is that monkey gonna wear that suit for, until he gonna fucking tear that shit apart or put some shit stain on it? It ain't gonna fit right. But I'll give Lil Wayne some due respect. He tried to come in and try to do something, And that's better than nothing, man. I'll tell you that. And I'd rather have Lil Wayne than any of those fucking kid artists that don't even know what the fuck they're doing with themselves and their identity. At least this dude could fucking spit like a motherfucker. During his peak, he had something. He had to give the gap. There's no denying that. It's just when he's singing and he's trying to, I don't even call it singing, but when he's on that auto-tune shit, I really don't fuck with it. But, um, yeah, Tyler the Creator, interesting feature. And I'll say this, if he was to do a remix of Out of Time, I think Bruno Mars would be a great fucking idea. Let's see. But yeah, this whole album, man, it definitely delivers where it's supposed to. I mean, Dawn FM, it feels like as if you're listening to a really good radio session right here. And I played the alternate world version, so I definitely got to hear the remix for Sacrifice, the remix with Take My Breath, which was, again, unnecessarily long. A song that just doesn't need that much length, man. I mean, it's a good song, but I don't think it needs that much love. I don't think it needs that much attention and investment as Sacrifice, Out of Time, Is There Someone Else? And this was a Simple Made track, too. But sometimes simplicity just delivers. Come on. And I hate that. It's like, why can't this be a good song? Like, why does... And sometimes it's with the message, too. Like, maybe, I don't want to go into a club. I don't want to hear a song where it's like, I'm hearing about someone want to see somebody else. It's like, that's not going to give me wanting to dance on the floor. I get it. The concept of the song and the lyrics could not make this potentially not a good club hit like Take My Breath. I get it. But sometimes the melody right there is just, holy smokes. But I'll be damned though not to think that someone played this shit as a fucking strip club. I'm thinking like it's a fucking lap dance. Okay, let me stop. All right, but anyways, that's all I got to say. So, I'm not really interested in doing any music reviews like spot on that, copyright, everything like that is just gonna block it. But Dawn FM definitely hit, man. Wow. Y'all probably want to see my reaction to it. Like I said, I ain't got the time for editing, all that. Ain't gonna happen. Just telling you right here from word to word, this album. Oh yeah, The Weeknd is just, he's at his best right now. And he's continuing to get better and better. I mean, people could say he's trying to mimic or mirror Michael Jackson. What can I tell you? He's his own person. But I think the power of his music is pretty much right there. It is definitely rivals Michael Jackson. And if he continues this pace for 2-3 more albums, dare I say it, he might eclipse Michael Jackson in terms of musical artist. Not overall performer and all that. Ain't no way we're going to see The Weeknd bust some moves like Michael Jackson unless The Weeknd really puts hardcore training into it, But that's funny, ain't it? You see one artist who really is just as a damn good dancer, if not. I'm not going to say that, but like you got Chris Brown who really studied the dancing culture of Michael Jackson, and you got The Weeknd who studied the music aspect. It's beautiful, man, when future generations take something that they are good at, be inspired by an artist who really did that, and it just grows from there. So obviously there won't be a complete artist as good as Michael Jackson in a long period of time. It's just difficult to replicate that, you know what I mean? It's kind of like once in a blue moon. But shit, though. Do those two? They got it. Hey, maybe The Weeknd and Chris Brown could collab one day, but it gotta be in a very good timing. in space. Because, like I said, they both are like, how could I put it? Two tales, man. Two different tales of one great legend. It's just, that's all there is to it. So, but no, respect to both of them and how they trying to carry themselves, man. Obviously, I don't think Chris Brown musically is as aspiring as he used to be. It is what it is. No, I'm not trying to get copyrighted on that shit. But honestly, I would like to see Chris Brown kind of get back more to his roots of R&B. I felt royalty was getting in, and I heard that, what's it called? That name of that album where it was like 30 songs, Indigo. I heard that one too. I just feel like need more R&B, need more slow jams. Let's relax it down a bit. You know what I mean? Kind of like what his first album was, because everyone knows you could do pop. Everyone knows you could do whatever is trendy, whatever, and But let's just focus more on just you serenading that voice of yours, man. You got to use that voice when you got it. Don't just treat it like as if it's like a money machine. Treat it like what it really is, man. And put that on some good ass R&B serenading tracks, and I promise you that shit gonna hit. Especially if you find your own zone, kind of like much like how August has his, Trey has his, The Weeknd has his, all that. I think once Chris gets settled down too, man, it don't mean he gotta stop being who he is. I'm just saying, like, work with your voice and let it really be on a platform where it's gonna excel and really drive some type of emotional force, because that's what music is about. It's supposed to pull you. You know what I mean? And all these hits every now and then. I mean, for how long are you gonna keep this up, dog? Is that what you want to be remembered for just making these one hits, or do you want to really have a full body of work that people can go to and be like, yeah, I remember how this one, and obviously hardcore fans are gonna remember that, but general fans that don't really fuck with your music, like me, I'm not gonna remember it as well as I could go through the track list for your first album. That's not gonna happen. You know what I mean? So that's all I gotta say. And just like that, I can drag 10 minutes like it's nothing. All right, bye y'all. Deuces. Don FM. Check it out. Listen to it. Dope music.